Welcome to this session. In this session, we will be discussing on the provisions relating to set-off and carry-forward of losses as per Income Tax Act. As per Income Tax Act, once the income is being computed for any assessee, ultimately there might be loss as well in some instances. So, how to treat losses in case if there is loss under any specific head of income? The set-off and carry-forward gives the provision relating to the treatment of losses with regarding to an individual assessee. Basically, there are two different types here: set-off of losses and carry-forward of losses. First, let us understand what is set-off of losses. Set-off of losses is further divided into two different types. One is set-off within the same head of income or inter-head set-off, and second one, set-off against other heads of income or intra-head set-off. As the name suggests, inter-head set-off is between two different heads of income, whereas intra-head set-off is between the same head. The adjustment happens within the same head. So these are the basic two differences. Now, what is the condition with regarding to set-off? So first and the primary condition is that the loss from exempted source of income cannot be adjusted against taxable income. It's obvious that whenever there is an income that is being generated, that will be brought under tax. But there are certain instances wherein the income has been exempted from tax. In such cases, any loss arising in that particular head cannot be adjusted against any of the taxable income. One example is agricultural income. Agricultural income is exempted from tax. Hence, if the taxpayer incurs any loss from agricultural activity, then such loss cannot be adjusted against any other taxable income. This is the first condition has to be understood. This is common for set-off and carry-forward. Next, what is the meaning of intra-head adjustment? As we just now discussed, if in any particular financial year the taxpayer has incurred any loss from any source of income, that is any of the 5 heads of income, obvious that in the head of salary there will be no loss, excepting that there are other 4 heads starting from house property, followed by profit and gains from business or profession, then capital gains and income from other sources. So there is always a chance for an assessee to incur loss in either of these 4 heads of income. Then he is allowed to adjust such loss against the income from any such sources falling under the same head. So this is called as intra-head. The process of adjusting of losses from a source under a particular head of income against the income from other sources under the same head of income is called as intra-head. That is, it is easily understood with this example. Adjustment of loss from business A is again adjusted from profit of business B. As simple as that. So that is intra-head adjustment. Now let us understand the restrictions that are to be kept in mind while making the intra-head adjustment of losses. First one is speculative loss. This loss is whenever is arising, it cannot be adjusted with any other income. That is, if there is any loss in speculation business, then if there is income from speculative business only can be used for adjusting the speculative loss. Speculative loss can be adjusted with speculative income only. But in case if the assessee is having different business and one among the business is speculation, in that case in business loss which has been incurred from any other business can be adjusted with speculative business income. So if there are two business A and business B, business A is speculation and business B is also speculation. In case of business A, there is a loss. Business speculation B, business is making a gain, so that can be adjusted. Whereas the assessee is having 3 different businesses: business A, business B and business C. Business B is speculation business. Business A and business C are pertaining to some other activity. Suppose if the assessee is incurring any loss in business A and in business C, whereas he is making profit in speculative business, that is business B, then the income from speculative business, that is business B, can be used to adjust loss that has been incurred by the assessee for adjusting losses that has arisen from business A and business C. So put it in simple terms, speculative loss can be adjusted only with speculative income, whereas speculative gain can be used to adjust any other business losses. Point number 2. long-term capital loss. Long-term capital loss can be adjusted only with long-term capital gain, whereas short-term capital loss can be adjusted from long-term gain as well as from short-term gain. Another way is to say short-term loss can be adjusted from long-term gain, short-term gain, whereas long-term loss can be adjusted only with long-term gain, cannot be adjusted with short-term gain. Number 3, no loss can be set off against income from winnings from lotteries, crossword puzzles, races, including horse race, card games, etc. This kind of losses or this kind of income, whatever we normally call it as, they are called as casual income. They are termed as casual income. So casual income is just an income, can be bought only under tax. In case if there is any loss incurred in that, that cannot be adjusted with any other income. And finally, loss from business of owning and maintaining horse races cannot be set off against any income other than income from business of owning and maintaining horses. So, in case if our individual assessee is maintaining horses for the purpose of using them in races, in that case the maintenance expenses can be adjusted only with such income, and it cannot be adjusted with any other income, or in loss that has incurred from because of maintenance of horses can be adjusted only with the income that has been arriving because of that horses and not with any other income. Next, adjustments. We can know that after making some intra-head adjustments, that is within the same head, when we are making any kind of adjustments of losses, if that has still been left over, the spillover of losses, whatever has been left over, what to be done with that? So the next step is to make it with inter-head adjustment. So first step is to find out if it is possible to adjust the losses within the same head. First we'll find out whether house property loss can be adjusted within the same head, that is within house property income. If not, in the same in the year, the taxpayer has incurred loss under one head of income and is having income under one another head of income, then it can be adjusted, and the loss from one head can be used, or the income from one head can be used to adjust the loss that has been incurred on the other head. That is, loss from head of the house property can be adjusted with the salary income. If an assessee is having an house property wherein he is making some gain, and if he's made some loss in another house property, then the adjustment what has been made is called as intra-head. Now, when there is a loss in house property and he has adjusted with an income from house property, but still there is a leftover loss, that loss can be used, that can be adjusted with the salary income if he has. So that is called as inter-head adjustment of losses. Now, again there are restrictions like intra-head. What are those restrictions? Before making any inter-head adjustment, the taxpayer must first make intra-head adjustment, as we just discussed. So before moving on to the next step of adjusting with the other source of income, the first step should be to find out whether it is possible to adjust loss under the same head. If not, the inter-head can be moved on. Second, speculative loss cannot be set off against any other income. The same rule apply here as well. Speculative loss cannot be adjusted against any other income. Third point, speculative gain can be used to set off losses incurred under any other business as well. Fourth point, loss under the head capital gains cannot be set off against income from any other heads. As we already said, long-term loss can be adjusted only with long-term gain, whereas short-term loss can be adjusted from long-term gain as well as short-term gain. We have never used the word that it can be adjusted from other heads. So here as well the same concept is applicable. No loss can be set off against casual income. We saw what is casual income, and so winnings, all those things comes under casual income. So that loss cannot be adjusted with any other income. Losses from business or profession cannot be set off against salary. And loss under the head house property shall be allowed to be set off against other head of income only to the extent of rupees 2 lakh for any assessment year. If the loss is exceeding 2 lakh, it cannot be adjusted in the same year. It has to be carried forward, which we will be discussing shortly. And last, unabsorbed depreciation is allowed to be carried forward to the subsequent years until it has been completely absorbed. So these are the restrictions that are to be kept in mind with regarding to inter-head adjustment of losses. Now, we will find out what is a carry forward adjustment. We discussed the two heads wherein First one is with regarding to interhead, second one is with regarding to intrahead. So in intrahead, we saw that the losses can be adjusted within the head. If there is any spillover of losses, that is leftover losses, can be adjusted with other head of income, provided the conditions are being followed, and in that case it can be adjusted with other heads of income. Now, in case if there is a loss that cannot be adjusted even after using other incomes and following all the conditions, if there is still loss left over, what can be done? So that is the case with regard to carry forward. Many times it happens that after making intrahead and intrahead adjustments, still that loss remains. Okay, such unadjusted loss can be carried forward to the next year for adjusting against the subsequent year's income. The condition is separate provision has been framed from the income tax law with regard to carry forward of losses. One primary condition is that the such loss which has been carried forward has to be adjusted only with the same head of income. The provision which is written there, carry forward of losses to the subsequent under the same head if there is an income in the subsequent year can be done. If there is no income in that particular head, then it cannot be adjusted. Suppose the house property loss has been there and it has been adjusted to a certain extent, but still there is a loss in that particular assessment year, which cannot be done by any other means. So therefore it has been carried forward. Once the loss has been carried forward, it can be adjusted only with the income under the head house property in the subsequent year. And there are also other conditions like loss from house property and business and such capital gains. All losses when it has been transferred, this carry forward loss can be adjusted for a maximum period of 8 years. That is, if it is starting in the financial year 2020-2021, it could have been adjusted in 21-22, 22-23, 24-25, 26-27, 27-28, 28-29, 30-31. So within 31, it has to be adjusted. If it has not been possible, it cannot be adjusted. Whereas with regarding to speculative loss, it can be transferred or carried forward only for a period of 4 years. And the condition for unabsorbed depreciation can be transferred until it has been fully absorbed. So these are the conditions with regarding to carry forward of losses. So this chart will give you a comprehensive understanding of what is that we have discussed in this entire session. Thank you.